Well, hello, beautiful souls. It is 3:36 in the morning, and as seems to be the case, off and on during this intense, energetic, transformational time that's going on, or period of time that's going on at the moment globally. I know there's many people out there, or many beings out there that are feeling intense energy changes, even the people that are not generally aware of consciously to the energies that are going on. I hear, I'm being told, I feel, I know, are also feeling changes and intensity kind of building, but sometimes unsure why. But anyway, this video, so that's one of the reasons that I'm awake. I'm awake at all sorts of hours, and I quite like actually being awake this time in the morning, like this early, because the world is kind of well, not the world, but this part of the world where I is based at the moment is kind of asleep. So when I go outside, it's all just quiet. So the energy is actually calmer. So I find sometimes that being awake at these sort of the midnight hour, those sort of hours early in the morning when everyone else around me, at least in this area, is kind of is generally asleep. The energy is calmer, so it allows me to be able to think clearer, or my mind is clearer. My energy feels lighter, freer, and then I can get on and do things without sort of distractions, and yeah, just without distractions, really good. But this video really is just an explanation as to why I would be awake at this time, and there are others out there I know that also are experiencing this too, so I know that I'm not alone. But this is just a quick little video to say about how the universe is, or spirit, whatever we wish to call that. There are many different names. And while I am coming to the realization that each of the different names for all these energies, which ultimately is this comes from the same energy. I mean, I personally like to connect, or as much as I can, with source prime creator, as I call it, which other people might call God, other people might call all those sort of terms. But I call sort of source prime creator is kind of what resonates the most in me, and that for me is where the energy of love originates from, before everything else. You know, that is for me, my awareness, or what's my truth, my inner knowing tells me that for me is where we all come from, and where eventually we'll all go back to, which I think I've said on previous videos for those that have watched previous videos. But anyway, so that I've had this little sort of makeup bag I've had for quite some time now, quite a few years, and I have never noticed on the side of it says "You're worth it." It's not the reason I bought this bag. I got it from a local charity shop, to just, as a little makeup bag, and I thought I'll put things in it. And every now and again, you just get this. I just noticed something. There's something will come into my awareness, and I'll be like, oh. And I get this feeling of just love, unconditional love is the way that I can describe it. That just comes over me, and it's like being wrapped in a hug of love, a love hug from kind of the inside, but then the outside as well, because it's like having an energy, because it's not human, but it's like having an energy. It's like having this big aura energy of love, this big bubble of love that just comes and kind of just literally envelopes the whole of my being, the whole of my body. But actually it's within me as well. It actually radiates from within me, as well as enveloping me from the outside. So it just encompasses the whole of me. Sometimes when I see things like this, or when I notice things like this, and then I'm grateful, and I say thank you to spirit, my family, like the non-physical family, the family that are in spirit, and other beings that are guiding me, that are helping me, supporting me, loving me. angels, archangels, my ancestors that are no longer here, my passed on loved ones, my starseed family, other beings of love and light that are with me. Connected to my soul family, my soul tribe. Whoever it is, and I know it's all of them as one is kind of how I feel it, and it's all love energy. Is how I feel it, how I comprehend it. But I kind of looked over and I was sitting in bed and I was doing some of my sort of goals, my reasons for why I want to do the things that I want to do, you know, those sort of projects that I have that are close to my heart, my passionate projects, the ones I have excitement for, my heart's desires, the reasons why I've learned that to bust through to the procrastination, the pattern of procrastination, which I find I still have sometimes. One of the ways of getting through this, there's a lot of psychology and sort of science-based stuff that I've discovered based around this procrastination, is just because we well, there's different reasons for procrastination, but for me, it's not just a lack of sort of self-worth, although there can be some fears and stuff related to it, linked to it, but also it, for me, is because I had this identity. There's a part of me, a limiting belief, a definition, as Bashar would say. If you don't know who those beings are, then you can go and Google. There's many different. They'll be easily found on YouTube. But they state that you know, we have definitions which are just limiting beliefs that we've picked up along the way. We've made up about ourselves or the world around us in some way, some sort of perception, which then kind of holds us back or keeps us locked in some sort of pattern or some sort of pattern of behaviour or cycle, which is actually really detrimental to us. And I realised the procrastination that I used to think procrastination was just avoiding doing what it is you wanted to do. Like sometimes I watch telly as a way to relax, but also that can be an avoidant tactic of I've noticed, and these patterns of behaviour, as well as a way of relaxing. There's the two, and it's just knowing which energy I am in when undertaking that task, when doing that and doing other tasks. But I found out doing some degree studies a few years ago that actually procrastination could also be not just avoiding doing what it is I want to do, but using other activities like cleaning the house, making things clean and organised, rather than actually getting down and writing the essays and assignments I used to have to do. And that was a form of procrastination as well, which I didn't realise the true definition of procrastination back then. I do now. So sometimes I've found, come to an awareness that this can be due to, I've got a certain identity, a certain way of my subconscious is pre-programmed to think about myself or feel about myself, and the brain in its survival mode, and the fact that it doesn't like change, it doesn't like things that are unfamiliar or unknown. The ego mind, the subconscious, and the pre-programming wants to keep you trapped, wants to keep you stuck, because that's what it knows, that's what it's familiar, and therefore it feels safe in that familiarity. That when you have an identity about yourself, a limiting belief about yourself, you have this identity perception about yourself, and these limiting beliefs, and these which are just like definitions, so easily can be changed, when we know about them. First of all, you know, there's obviously work that has to be done there to learn about these, to do investigations in the backstory of how we got these, where they came from. I find kind of helps, and then we can sort of acknowledge and maybe release or embody and integrate, whatever the case is, it works best for us. I worked at the, some I've been able to release, some I have had to embody and integrate. It just really depends on what those limiting beliefs are, but they're all helping me to shift the identity of myself, the underlying identity that I have, which again is other people's judgments and bullshits and criticisms, is what I found has helped create the identity, or shape the identity of me as I've got older, which I'm busting out of, and actually I was learning the identity of who I truly am, at my soul level, my core. Excuse me. But anyway, so the universe, sometimes I find that the universe, the spirit, etc., whatever we wish to call the terms, angels, archangels, my family of love and light is what I tend to call them now, because that just encompasses all of them, all the ones that are known to me and unknown to me, the ones that I've met in past lives, the ones I've met in this life, ones, just all of it, all of them, as a collective. And they're also like, the little messages and stuff like sort of come through. So I just looked over. I was just like sort of laying. I was doing other things and I was working on other things, and I just kind of looked over and I was like, oh, you're worth it. And I got this whole like this just beautiful feeling of like this encompassing love energy that just wrapped itself around me. And then it's when I kind of tuned into it, it just burst, just burst from my heart center just all over me. It was very, very beautiful. And I was like, that's that connection. That's me aligning to that statement and tuning into the energy of those words and allowing that love to expand and to kind of take over and just expand through my whole being and my whole awareness, become my whole awareness of self. But it's just every day more and more that I become aware of these subtle messages and communications that we're receiving, no matter where they come from. When they feel like love, when they can bring you to tears of happiness and help you to relieve trapped emotions that are stored within our physical vessels without us sometimes even knowing. When it helps to sort of release that, but it relieves a feeling of love and bliss and relief and lightness afterwards, a freeing. It feels freeing afterwards, or you just feel love from it. Then it's coming from a place that is just all about your highest and your greatest and your best benefit of you as a being, just to let you know that you are loved. You're not alone. You're surrounded by beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energies of love that just want the best for you and for everyone, the whole world. And this is just a little reminder, it's just a little communication from my family of love and light, from my own higher mind, my own inner self, my own soul, from Source Prime Creator, from love, that we really are all worth it. And if we just notice, if we just stop and take a moment to notice, these messages, these communications are everywhere. I shit you not. They are everywhere. When you start noticing them, the more and more and more and more to notice them, be grateful for them, give gratitude. I actually speak the gratitude out loud more and more. It's just like as a note to myself as well, so that I can actually hear it. And also when we speak things out or write things down, our brain actually processes it in a different way than just us thinking about it. It kind of takes it in a different way. So it registers and resonates differently within us, within our body, in our mind, when we speak these things out, when we write these things out. So it's also a very powerful way of utilizing or processing it within a different way. It's like a double whammy. You kind of think it and it's processed in one way, then you write it or you speak it out and it's processed in another way. So it's like a double whammy. But yeah, so it's just a little confirmation that everywhere you go there are beautiful things and messages of love if you choose to see them, perceive the world that way. And I do every single waking moment as much as I possibly can. Sometimes I get distracted and unaligned from that. And then there'll be a thought that pops into my head. I'm like, where did that come from? That was not me. That's not mine. Off you go. And I just tell those thoughts to leave now. Because they're not mine. We're not our thoughts. We're not the mind. It is our mind. It's a tool to be used. It's there to help us, but in a different way from how we've been taught how to use it or how we generally do use it. And I have found, a friend of mine told me this, a very, very beautiful friend of mine told me this, that she just tells these thoughts to kind of F off, because she knows they're not hers. They don't feel right. Anything that doesn't feel right in the body, and it doesn't think anything, when you get to the point and you know your own core vibration, your own frequency, your own how you feel naturally without all the other stuff, when you've managed to acknowledge, release, and come to awareness more and align and connect with who you truly are at your core, at your soul level, at your higher mind's perspective. And it takes some doing there. It's not for the faint-hearted, this journey, getting to that point. And you know, it's an, for me, it feels like it's a process, and it's a step-by-step process. And sometimes it goes a bit fast, and sometimes it goes slow. At the moment, everything seems to be on like a sped up, accelerated timeline, which is both exhilarating, exciting, and intense at the same time for those that are feeling it. And other times it kind of goes a little bit slow, and you feel like you're just kind of like on a hamster wheel. But it's all a process, and it's all going at our own pace. We're all on our own individual journey. As much as we're all connected, we're all on our individual journeys as well. But these little messages, I find they really, it's like, they're like little tidbits of just like, it's okay. You know, something out there telling me just, it's okay. It's all good. Don't be disheartened. There is hope. You're not alone. There is so much more out there than we actually consciously realize or aware of sometimes. And these little messages for me, just, they bring me back to my heart, to my connection to my connection and alignment to myself, connection to myself. And sometimes they're like a little, they're like a little pat on the back. It's all good. We're proud of you. You're proud of yourself, which I am every day. And I'm truly grateful and thankful for where I am in the world and all of the beings that have been in my life, whether they're still in my life or not anymore. But they've all helped shape me into who I am, and having this awareness about myself. No matter what I thought about the experience or the interaction at the time, it was all worth it. It's all brought me to this place right here, right now. And it's beautiful. Just as you're all beautiful, and you're all worth it. And as I get these urges, almost, if you like. The urge is almost uncontrollable sometimes, and then I just kind of think, why am I resisting? Why do I resist? Resist because you have your fears and stuff like that, resistance. But more and more I'm learning not to resist, to just go with, when I get an urge to share something publicly via my YouTube channel or in other ways of which at the moment I've been explored. And when it comes from my heart, when it comes from my gut, it's not the head, it's different, it's a different energy. And I know more and more, I'm learning more and more about the different energies and how they feel when it comes from the mind and it's not mine, and off you go. Thank you very much, not today. But when it comes from my heart, when it comes from my guts, then I know it actually is maybe not this physical me, like this me, here, but it comes from like my soul, my gut instinct, my intuition, my higher mind, whatever you want to call it, whatever term you want to use. It comes from that place, from the inside, and that I know more and more to follow, because there's a process. It's a step-by-step process, and that little bit more of sharing and exposure and vulnerability. I know it's just, me expressing and sharing parts of my journey and who I know myself more and more to be is just as much for me as it might be for other people out there. And if it's not for anyone else and it's just for me, then that's just the way that it is. And that's also amazing, because it's also has its benefits for me. But yeah, so a little message to say, you're all worth it. We are all worth it. Just to keep going, hang on in there, breathe, meditate, do whatever it is, just to connect into yourself, and via your inner self then to the greater all. And just hold on to that vision that things are going to get better. Things are going to get better. That is, might be a little bit intense for a bit, but it's all good. It's all with a divine plan, a divine timing in mind. And we all chose to be part of this here and now, which is why we're all here. So enjoy as much as possible, because that's the reason we're here. You know, I truly do believe we are here to experience as much as possible, or at least I know my soul is to experience as much as it possibly can, explore as much as it can, which is why my favourite question when I was a child growing up was why, and it still is why, how. Not so much how, I'm trying to, you know, it's one thing I'm learning to leave is the how. We're not really supposed to know the how, but I do like to know the workings and the ins and outs of everything. So why is definitely a favourite question of mine. But even that, I'm learning to surrender. And I had epiphanies the other day, realizations, very quickly on a little side note, that surrendering, one of the reasons I had so much resistance to this word surrender, giving up control, when you come out of a sort of domestic abusive relationships, which were all about power and control, relinquishing control to anyone but yourself. It's like a daunting, scary thing. But I came to the idea that surrender is not actually relinquishing control. Surrendering is not giving up or giving in. Surrendering is just it really is just a letting go. I have faith, I have trust in that, in my intuition, in my gut instinct, in my higher mind, my inner self, my soul, my oversoul, you know, with Source Prime Creator. I have trust in faith in all of that. I always have. And I have trust and faith in myself. And, you know, not even my mind as much, so much the ego and mind, that side of things, but my intuition. I have faith and I have trust in that. So that is just surrendering and letting go and just following that guidance that comes from in, those urges, those callings that come from within is why I realised what surrender actually is. But I used to have so much resistance about that because I just didn't want to relinquish control. And then as soon as I started to think, because I've been thinking about surrender a lot recently, and as soon as that kind of came into my mind, I was doing some like meditative practice, and that kind of came into my mind. And I was like, and there was so much relief and resistance that was released from just that thought that, hold on, surrender is not giving up or giving in. It's not relinquishing control. It's letting go. It's actually taking power back. It's actually taking back my power and my control, because I'm surrendering to myself. Rather than fighting myself, I'm surrendering to myself. I'm surrendering to that part of me that has a perspective that my physical mind cannot comprehend. It has the highest perspective. It knows my heart's desires. It knows the best way, the easiest way, the way that's the path that's going to bring the most joy and the most fun, the most love into my life. From where I am now to where I actually ultimately wish to, you know, to be, even though we're going to enjoy every present moment, etc. But, you know, sort of those steps to kind of on the path to more abundance, more love, more joy, more exploration, more fun, more play, more creativity, all those things that I wish to embody more of in my life. And it knows how to the path to bring me more of that. So surrendering to that is a great thing. And I'm learning to do that more and more. So I thought I'd share that. And it was only going to be a really short video, and I realised it's actually 23 minutes. So I'm learning to express myself and maybe do shorter videos at some point. But not this morning. But anyway, I leave you all. If you watch this, thank you so much for watching and sharing and listening with me, because you just listening is a sharing of energy. It's an energy exchange. It all is. And enjoy. Blessings of love to you, beautiful souls.